ladies and gentlemen. Yeah? Nice seeing you again. You're ready for it. Okay. Well, the purpose of this first presentation today is to explain, in particular to those of you who are fairly new to Theosophy, in a pure and practical way, some of the basic ideas of Theosophy. As there might be concepts you are unfamiliar with, we do our best to present these in a form and a language as simple as possible. Theosophy is for everyone who is looking for inspiration, guidance and instruction to progress on his eternal journey towards the greater wisdom and illumination. The teachings at its core are so simple and practical that any person of average intelligence is quickly able to recognize, understand and follow them. While at the same time, these teachings are so profound and lofty that also for the most advanced students of Theosophy, there are an unlimited number of new insights to be discovered. Right, here we are. The Theosophical Society, ladies and gentlemen, was established in late 1875 in New York by Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, Colonel Henry Steele Olcott, William Quan Judge, and others under guidance of the Masters of Wisdom and Compassion, or as they are also known, the Mahatmas, which literally translates into great men, or the Elder Brothers. These masters, the guardians of the ageless wisdom religion, are not something like excarnated spirits, but men just as we are, only much further advanced on their evolutionary path to spiritual and intellectual perfection. The primary object of the society is to demonstrate that oneness of all life is a fact in nature and to form a firm foundation for a universal brotherhood based on the essential divinity of man. Now, theosophical ideas since 1875 have powerfully affected modern thought in the world. Science, philosophy, and religion have been moving towards Theosophy with an increasing speed. Now, what is Theosophy? Well, it just needs an open mind to experience the universal laws of nature Theosophy so well explains. Perhaps you remember when as a child you looked up in the sky with great awe and wonder, seeing the vast dark space with the numerous flickering stars. Intuitively, you knew that you were part of something larger, of something beyond your comprehension. Perhaps for a moment you have even felt yourself one, completely one with nature, inseparable from the rest of the world. Man's free will to direct his own life is another basic idea everyone intuitively accepts. In particular, in this country, where the idea clearly inspired people as Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and others to write the Declaration of Independence. Furthermore, when we listen to our intuition, we know that the laws of the universe are based on order, purpose, and righteousness, and that it's not a haphazard coincidence of chemical reactions. Although we experience a different world, we all know deep in our heart that we should and can live together in this world on basis of unity, impersonal brotherly love, compassion, understanding, wisdom, justice, and all those other grander values which makes a man complete. Now, Theosophy is the doctrine that shows that all these ethics we intuitively already feel right are not sentimental ideas, but are based on universal facts of nature, its very own structure and its workings. Theosophy teaches the universal laws of the universe, the structure of man and cosmos, and it provides us with courage and hope to live a truthful life in accordance with these eternal verities. It helps us in overcoming our obstacles on our way and to progress on our path at the same time, helping others to find their way. Now, the name Theosophy is many thousand years old and comes from the Greek theos and sophia, literally meaning divine wisdom. But it's also known under names as Gupta Vidya, esoteric philosophy, ancient wisdom, gnosis, or the secret doctrine. It is the wisdom underlying all world religions, and it is reconciling these. Theosophy is universal, and it is of all ages. In 1888, now exactly 125 years ago, H.P. Blavatsky published her magnum opus, The Secret Doctrine, the synthesis of science, philosophy, and religion. All three of these disciplines, and in combination with each other, are necessary to understand life to its fullest. The Secret Doctrine covers the so-called creation of the universe, the evolution of humankind, and the primordial tradition underlying all religions, mythologies, and philosophies of the world. In the proem of this book, she gives us three fundamental ideas or propositions as the cornerstones of Theosophy. Now, it is important to know that different from modern-day science, Theosophy is a deductive top-down science religion, a philosophy that works from general ideas to logic conclusions. The three fundamental propositions are therefore the general ideas which form the universal touchstone for testing the purity of all thoughts and ideas derived from them. Please note here that those three ideas are not dogmas you are supposed to accept as true because we say so. They are presented to you as a hypothesis you are strongly recommended to examine for yourself and test on its universality. Some understanding of these basic conceptions is essential for studying Theosophy and finding answers to the big questions in life. The text of the three fundamental propositions you will find in the handout we prepared for this event. Now, the first proposition, the eternal boundless principle, you will find back in all religions. In Taoism, Lao Tzu refers to it as the Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. Or in Buddhism, it's called Sunyata. A direct consequence of boundlessness is the essential oneness of all that is, and that unity is a fundamental truth in nature. You are part of it. You have always been so and will always be, like any other being in this universe and with whom you are undeniably connected with as you flow from the same source. Now, we hope you understand why Theosophists consider universal brotherhood as a fact in nature. Everything is interconnected and affects everything else. The second proposition postulates a continuous and orderly cyclic movement in a boundless universe. In India, this is referred to as the breath of Brahma. When the breath is outdrawn, all the worlds gradually appear, and when indrawn, these worlds and all the beings on it slowly disappear again. And after a period of rest, the outbreathing starts again. There are small cycles and giant cycles our scientists have not even discovered yet. Day and night, the seasons in a year, the movements of our planets in the solar systems, civilizations which come and go, all are examples of cycles. The third proposition affirms our identity with the one absolute reality of the first proposition. It says we function according to the same laws and principles which guide the entire universe. as given in the Hermetic axiom, as above, so below. Furthermore, the third proposition gives us a meaning, a purpose, and a direction to our life. It is a pilgrimage, a spiritual journey to rediscover who we really are. Started on this journey as unself-conscious God spark and destined to become a self-conscious divine man, we are spiritual beings using different vehicles to come in touch with the different planes of nature. For manifestation on the physical plane, the place where we live our daily life, where we can see, feel, hear, and smell, we use a physical body formed out of material cells and molecules. Now, one of the most important concepts of Theosophy is that man and universe are essentially one. We are a part of it. When a universe comes into being, it is built from within outwards by consciousness. Therefore, everything in the universe is life, consciousness, that embodies itself for manifestation in a suitable form or vehicle according to its inherent characteristics. It is very difficult to characterize consciousness per se. Plato perhaps might help us with his definition of consciousness, where he says the ability to act and react to other. Now, there are consciousnesses in virtually innumerable grades or degrees or stages of evolutionary development. One of these grades, degrees, or stages is human consciousness. Now, we understand what man is. We therefore have to understand what human consciousness is. The Christian Paul divided man in a threefold entity: spirit, soul, and body. You can see them here. You have an enduring, lasting part, the spirit, a transitory part, the body, and in between there is the learning part, the manifested soul. Every being, whether that be a star, a man, animal, plant, mineral, to the tiniest of atom, is in essence a consciousness center emanating, flowing forth from the central heart of universe. However, to manifest itself, this divine spiritual force needs a vehicle. It therefore emanates a soul, which functions as a transformer on different planes of existence to build a vehicle, a body. Think of it as electricity that is transported from a power plant to your home and has to be transformed or reduced in voltage in several steps so it can be used at your home for household purposes. And our physical body consists, as you will know, of innumerable cells and atoms building up, among others, your organs. As a consequence of the first proposition, these atoms are living beings. They are the bodies of other small consciousness centers of what we in Theosophy call life atoms. So we have life within life, beings within beings, and everything working together. In Paul's threefold division of man, his consciousness is focused in the soul, the learning part he identifies himself with. We are a soul and we have a body. And this actually applies to all living beings of whatever class of development, be it a mineral, plant, animal, or God. From the basic threefold division in spirit, soul, and body, it's not a giant step up to the 7 principles of man Theosophy identifies. We will give you the Sanskrit words, as you will hear these more today, as well as its meaning in this slide. You will notice at the top, Atman, the divine principle. our inner God or our higher self, which is the link with the heart, our link with the heart of the universe. Buddhi, the spiritual enlightenment principle. Manas, the mind principle, our thinking faculty. And the ones we are more familiar with, kama, desire, which gives us, by the way, direction to our thoughts. Or the vital principle, prana, which gives us the life force, the energy, and the astral and the physical body. We are a sevenfold entity, and all these parts of our entity, from the highest to the lowest, are active. Most of mankind, however, have only learned to work with the lower four parts and are in that phase where the power of thinking, which of course already was there in a latent form, has been awakened. During this phase, which relatively started only recently and which takes millions of years, we are developing that power, mastering it until we have been fully awakened and enlightened as a Buddha, a Christ. We are thinkers. The name man comes from the Sanskrit word manas. Now, following the analogy principle, the third proposition, as you will recall, as above, so below, manas, our thinking faculty, can be broken down in accordance with the 7 principles of man, again in 7 aspects of the mind. This will help us to find out for ourselves where we are in the learning process. And then we will find out that we are not very well trained thinker yet, not able to concentrate our mind all the time on noble, unselfish thoughts. At least I am not. We may identify in correspondence with the 7 principles of man 3 higher forms of thinking, which we may refer to as inspirational, understanding, and intellectual. A typical use of the intellectual aspect of thinking is when we calculate. It is the 2 + 2 = 4 type of thinking. Or the exercise, how many lectures fit in the program of a 3-day conference. Understanding or intuition are aspects of our thinking we have more difficulty with to grasp, as we are not yet familiar in this phase of our evolution with these spiritual inner faculties. Our intuition and understanding works when we study a complex situation and almost in an instance oversee the relationship between the parts and the whole. Theosophy refers to it as the enlightenment aspect. It is active when you understand a piece of art instead of seeing a nice picture or a collection of brushstrokes. It is active when you suddenly grasp the working of a law of nature in a flash of intuition, after which it can take years to work it out intellectually, like we have seen with Einstein. The highest aspect of our mind, corresponding with the Atman principle, is for most people a once-in-a-lifetime experience only. Perhaps closest to this state of mind comes those moments when you are in nature and gaze at the starry sky and feel yourself completely in harmony with the universe. Now we can learn to control the mind by concentrating our thoughts on these higher aspects. Harmonious, unselfish thoughts will open your heart for more light and knowledge. It does not mean, however, that you should ignore your lower 4 aspects of thinking. We do need these as well to function as a complete human being. For example, we remind ourselves of the necessity of feeding our body when we think, I am hungry. You will recognize the physical aspect of our thinking. Or our emotions help us to develop pity and to sense the characteristics of an atmosphere. And the vitality aspect of our thinking brings us into action. And the fourth one, desire, empowers our mind to create to great visions and noble causes. Now, following the concept of duality, all thinking aspects have a higher and a lower form, an unselfish and a selfish side, you may say. Now, if you think about that for a second, you will recognize that the higher aspects incline towards unselfishness. When you understand how the law of cause and effect work, you probably will help your colleague at work when he is in trouble. And the lower aspect incline towards selfishness when desire for career, money, and prestige is dominant. Then you probably don't care about your colleague, or even perhaps will try to make advantage of his trouble. For that reason, it is important that we use the higher aspects to lead the lower aspects and keep these lower aspects under control. As the dog whisperer show you how to deal with your dog. In such a manner, the lower aspects are useful to you. Now, the three propositions from the secret doctrine, the ideas about our composite nature as man, and the sevenfold division of our thinking faculty help you to find answers to the questions who you are and where you are. To find now your way further on the eternal process of developing your consciousness, we give you today 7 keys, 7 jewels, gems or treasures. And these keys comprise all knowledge you need on that path. We hope you will be inspired by the presentations from my colleagues today and will enjoy the workshops. Thank you very much.